it's totally natural to not enjoy these intense, involuntary feelings, heavy emotions, trauma, whatever, that we experience. Some people all the time, most of the time, some once in a while. It's obvious that, instinctually we don't want to feel that. That's a healthy software program that God put inside this matrix game, is to not want to feel pain, but to enjoy peace and bliss. That's natural and it's healthy, but it's still a software program. So that has to be realized. That may not make it, just because you realize that the instinct that you have to not want to feel this and to even hate this, you realize that that's happening, that tendency, that instinct to not want to feel that's still part of the machine. Just because you realize that doesn't make everything better, like, oh, okay, now I can suffer and I don't even feel it. But if we're really doing this spiritual practice, if we really want to awaken, don't like that word, then we have to, because it's just been misused so much, it's like the word God and stuff, like people just, they throw it around like it's like any other word. So it's like, yeah, like that, enlightenment, guru, everybody has a guru, oh, my guru, yeah. So I try to use those words sparingly. So the instinct to want to be, not experience and suffer these heavy emotions, negative emotions, deep, intense, you can say hopelessness or anger or depression or frustration or just out of controlness with your body, mind, emotions, chronic pain, mental health imbalances. It's natural to not want to feel that, but just know you have to give some attention to the fact, if this is what a real spiritual transcendence is, you have to give some attention that those heavy feelings and the tendency to want to be free of that, even though it's healthy, that's still not who you are. There's still awareness of all that. There's awareness of the heavy, intense emotions, and then there's awareness that something wants to be free of that or get rid of it. Is the awareness that's aware of that suffering that? Is the awareness that's aware of that, does it want to be free of that? You have to answer those questions for yourself. Then the mind will say, well, yeah, but it doesn't make it go away. Okay, we're not talking about making it go away. We're just talking about, are you aware that there's something that's not affected by this, that is out of this whole matrix? Because there is. If there wasn't something out of this whole matrix, then we would all be sentenced to a kind of eternal hell. So there's something that's outside of this matrix, and you experience it every night when you go into deep sleep. Even if the deep sleep's only for 10 minutes, you experience that. That doesn't die. How can it? It doesn't have emotions. It doesn't have thoughts. It's not trying to awaken. How could it? You investigate that and see, though. You can do that right now. You can bring your attention in and you can check in, be aware of this formless nature that's here right now. Is that suffering from the emotions? Even though the heavy emotions are screaming, let's say you're in that state now. You're in a heavy emotional, intense state. And if you're not, remember it if you get into one. Be aware that, I heard an actor say this once. She said, it's weird. She says, whenever, she was a bit psychotic, but she says, when I have my psychotic episodes, there's something watching myself do that. It's really strange. And then I get my ideas to bring to my role that I'm going to play in theater or film and TV, because she's like using her psychosis to help fuel her work, And she's like, it sucks, and I'm crying, and I'm breaking things and everything, but yet I'm like watching myself do it. She didn't have any kind of sadhana, or she's not a non-dual oak or anything, but that potential, I don't know about capacity, but that potential, that instinct is in everybody to be aware of awareness. When you're aware of awareness, you see the game show of the human body self happening. There's detachment from it. So this is what we got to do. You got to spend some time and attention on focusing on that, because that's your freedom. And the hardest part is because the expectation that the mind says it should go away. The intense emotions should diminish when I'm aware that I'm not that. And then when it doesn't work, the mind says, okay, forget it. I'm not going to be aware of awareness. It just doesn't work. And then you go back deeper into identity with the emotions, etc. Look, this evolutionary process, it doesn't happen overnight. It just doesn't. Even the ones that so-called had sudden enlightenment, they've been chipping away at this for lifetimes. You just can't see it. If you could see all their lives, it would make sense. Like, oh yeah, man, you cheated. You've been working on this for a long time. No wonder you just tripped on a banana peel and, came into some deep realization of yourself. Everybody has, you have realization of yourself many, many moments throughout your life. It's just a lot of times we don't pay attention to it. We're just not aware that we're aware, but it's there. So therefore, that's why I say, like, what's awakening? What's the enlightened master mean? I don't feel a true, I don't feel there's a true enlightened master, number one, but what makes the sage a sage? It's his disciples or students that are telling him, calling him that. A real being who knows himself doesn't feel to say that, because it feels weird, because they're like, but you're like the same. I think they say that, don't they, in Zen, like, or one of these spiritual things, like, you're already enlightened, or you're already, I would use different words because, I don't know, it doesn't sound right. It just sounds like a cliche or something. I like to hear people talk from their own realization, not from a belief. Just tell me as though you've never read any books, and just speak like that. And then we can, I can feel you. I like to feel you. I don't want to hear words. I don't listen to words anyway. I listen to the being. I listen to where you're speaking from. Like in consultations, I listen to their words, but I'm reading them energetically, their presence. That's why I can't do too many. I like to do one a day maximum, because it takes energy. I was telling my friend that. I'm like, man, I get burnt out. Like if I do too many, because I'm really there, man. I'm like, because otherwise, what are we gonna do? I'm not there just to talk. Like, I need to know where you're at. Then let something, that takes concentration. So, yeah. What were we talking about? Oh, heavy emotions and stuff. The more you pay attention to the space or the self, your true self, in which these heavy, involuntary, intense emotions are happening in, the more you give a little attention to that, don't judge, but the more you give attention to that, the more these intense emotions, they're gonna dissolve. They're not gonna be so intense. And it's your karmic self that's being burnt up. That's what's happening. When you're experiencing that stuff, it's these energies that are just kind of, they're stuck inside and they're suppressed, and they're, maybe that's why people who have done drugs, street or pharmaceutical, it doesn't matter if they've done them for a long time and then they stop. It's like they become this melting pot of all these emotions, these energies are coming up. Get psychotic for a little bit because they've been repressed so long. So this is what's happening. All that stuff's coming up. And also, if you're super sensitive, you see, you're gonna be prone to this more. The advantage of being super sensitive is that it's easier for you to recognize, generally speaking, your true nature easier in subtle energies and realities, etc. Because you're super sensitive. Nervous system is really sensitive. The negative side is you gotta be careful, because external things can affect you. You can feel things really deep. People like the word empath, something, empath, right? that's the negative side. So you got to watch your company and what you eat and what your habits are and just everything, because there's, not to be so excessive though. Some people, the ego takes that excessive, this sensitive nature and makes it into like some special thing, like, oh man, I'm just so sensitive, like I can't go around that person, I'm just like too sensitive. No, that's not good. You should be strong, sensitive and strong, and then you just keep working this. If you're sensitive by nature, you're going to feel things more deep. So then these heavy emotions, it can like feel more painful for you. You feel everything more. You feel pain more. You feel the peace and love more. That's the good part, right? We just want to keep that part. Don't work like that. Duality. So you give space, you recognize, you pay a little attention, even if it's a couple moments a day. Start somewhere. You pay attention to the space in which this duality is happening in. The heavy, uncontrollable emotions. Oh wait, but there's something that's not really in that. Oh, it really feels like it. Oh man, this sucks. That's cool, I know, but still, there's something that's not affected by it. You should start there. Also, when you're in some deep sense of unity and unconditional love with people and compassion and peace. Oh wait, but that's actually still happening inside myself. See, people don't want to go there though. They want to claim that because I'm spiritual. This is, see, this is a byproduct of my spirituality. Still, that stuff is still an experience, and it's still happening in the pure non-dual self that you are. You can't just do it on one and not the other. That's what I'm trying to say. So leave me any questions you have. I think I'm understanding my audience better now. I think the people that like this channel, you guys are a little different. You see? That's why you might be attracted to me. A little unconventional, a little unrefined. Me too. So I'm trying to, with that in mind, make videos to appeal to that. Yeah, that's also an evolutionary process. This whole YouTube thing. Everything's evolution. What you do. Be aware of that which is not evolution. Yeah. See you.